Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk about the compositions. Let's talk about compositions. Talking about my tunes, of course, and yeah, if you checked out the last one, it was entitled Mars. It's about the tune Mars, first track of the new album that's coming out next week. And if I don't know when you're watching this, but it's next week's July 10th of 2020. Still in the quarantine right now, but I managed to get a haircut, which was nice. Yeah, supported my local barber and all that, so these things are trimmed down a little bit. So what I thought I'd do is, while we if the record isn't out yet, I can't talk about the new tunes because you can't listen to them, so then what's the point, right? So what I thought I'd do is talk a little bit about one of my older tunes. This one is entitled Faraway Shores, or Shores for short. Shores for short. But it's from the record 1954. It's my second record. Has Aaron Parks on piano, Joe Martin on bass, and Eric Harland on drums. And it seems to be kind of a favorite amongst the people that come to shows or that check the videos out. There's a great version on YouTube you can find with bands a little bit different. It's Taylor Eigsti on piano and Chris Potter on saxophone, and Harland on drums, Joe Martin on bass, and then me on guitar, right? That's everybody, yeah. A little quintet, and that's a really fun one. So, yeah, that's a good version on YouTube, but you can get the original on just about every stream platform, and it's quartet, no saxophone. So I think what's really interesting about this song is it's actually really old in a way. It was a different song before, around probably 2010, 2009, 2010, while I was in Boston still. I was listening to a lot of Brett Meldo back then, and from the record Highway Rider. And the first track, John Boy, really had a vibe that I want to try to convey. At least on a first day section, very triadic, very sparse, kind of exploring the idea of space. I know in the tunes that we covered so far, it's always the idea of space and sparseness. But that was what I was trying to convey. Initially, it was sort of dedicated to my dad a little bit. It was called The Open Road, and it was actually the first section of Shores. So basically, we'd be starting on like an F sharp minor chord. I mean, I guess well, if we go all the way back, it would be almost like a sus chord. Sort of set up the thing. That I wanted to get that eighth note feel from John Boy on that. So that kind of thing, with that chord. The bass would play a line that would cue us into the melody, right? And the original idea was for the bass to improvise over that little static chord, just build up and then play the line that I wrote verbatim. And then we'd launch into the song, right? The melody. So we once we hit the melody, we'd have some very simple chord changes. It would be, it goes F sharp minor, A, E, B minor, F sharp, A, and then sort of an E6 kind of. The melody's right here on the 6th, and then we're back to F sharp, pretty much the same thing. And then instead of this, we just go straight into a D, major 7 kind of, or mid-5th kind of thing, you know what I mean? Almost like a power chord with a D on top. That's basically the whole harmony for the first section. The melody plays on top of that. It'd be something like, that little part there. I like the key of F sharp minor for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like it sounds nice on electric guitar, I guess. I don't know. But so we basically state the melody twice. It was supposed to be this sort of very kind of. It was, like I said, originally it was called The Open Road. It was supposed to be this very sparse and kind of thoughtful piece, kind of like, I'm trying to say that word, but I was thinking, kind of very open spaces, maybe, things that America is very known for, these like sort of wide open plains kind of thing, maybe, open skies, that kind of thing, or even, yeah, like, sort of the openness, just really airy kind of thing, like sort of, yeah, just very open, very sparse, very kind of melodic, And after that, basically we play the melody twice over that, and that'd be it. We'd hit that D major 7, and that would be a fermato, and basically hold the tune. And from then on, I had a different second section, different second page that I never felt went anywhere. I could probably dig it up somewhere. I don't have it like right now, but it's it just wasn't. Maybe it's even better that it's not here, because it just didn't work. It felt like it kind of stayed the same. It was supposed to be a switch in mood, kind of the intensity was supposed to come in, and we'd have a bellowing section, more more improvisation. But it just didn't. It just really never went anywhere. So I kind of put it away, put the song away. And you never know, when something might come back and all that. I thought I had a nice first section, but that was basically it. And maybe it was never going to amount to anything. But at some point in 2015, when I was supposed to record, or maybe a little bit earlier than that, when I was going to make the record, I dug it up and I thought, man, there's some potential in that song. Maybe, there's something I could do with that. And I came up with this thing, I'm stopping on that D major, right? That's where the fermata hits. So I thought, what if I start from there? And I decided to just keep the upper structure sort of static, right? Those two notes. So I'm talking two musical like, which is basically that, right? And then move the bass line. Just move the bass line around and try to come up with a melody for the bass, right? So it would be something like, So basically, it's just the same thing on top, and I'm just doing you know what I mean? I maybe at first I didn't really have a meter, but then I guess I'm a fan of 7. I feel like it's like I said in the other video. I think seven is at the same time that it can be very busy, it can also be very light and just kind of it feels. I think a lot of that came. If you ever check out Dave Harland Quintet, that's a band that like explores a lot of odd meters. And something about that, I think, gives the band sort of a lightness to it. You know what I mean? Like it's when 4/4 swing is amazing. It's my favorite. But there's something about odd meters that allows you to have that sort of light on its feet quality. I think I used that expression before. So that's probably why I decided to go with 7/8 on this. So it'd be like it would be you know what I mean? So that would set up the next section. So twice just the guitar, then the drums and bass come in, and that just got me excited, So I remember thinking it'd be interesting. I was like, well, I gotta come up with a solo section for that, and then I kind of stayed true, sort of the same principle. You know what I mean? Basically, I'm keeping that F sharp over the top of the chords, kind of always ringy, but then the chord changes are a little bit different, kind of always, and then that kind of thing. It would be the changes for the solo section are a little bit different, and I thought, so I had that little solo section coming straight from the other one, and I thought it'd be fun to, instead of just having a straight up solo over it, it'd be fun to trade, right? Trades, when done effectively, is such a good device to build up interest. So I thought, why not, instead of just having a straight up guitar solo on that, why not trade? So I decided, because it was a quartet back then, to do a guitar piano trade. So guitar takes the first chorus, then piano takes the second chorus, guitar takes the third, so on and so forth. When always alternating, and then on cue we have the melody over that same solo section out. When we go to that kind of thing, that's the melody out after that, after those trades, right? So when you play that in quintet, when I play that in quintet, it's like that. I have a saxophone all of a sudden, and then it works just as well. I just add another member to the trades, and it almost gets kind of more fun because you have then 3 different players. And I always try to encourage. You can't really encourage things to happen, but I always try to have musicians not be overly polite about. In the beginning, sure, we'll do the whole form, but then we can start blurring the lines between the trades, and at some point, and that really on the YouTube version with Potter, that you can see that happening. We all start playing over each other. It's just a big kind of collective thing at the end, which I really like. That's something from the Dave Harland Quintet. I always enjoyed that sort of collective improvisation, which is a huge part of jazz back in Dixieland and all that. It's just a great kind of thing to have. I think to have people improvise at the same time and answering each other, like question and answer kind of thing. You know, obviously it's not done like it was in the past, but it's fun. You don't necessarily have to stay with the idea of, you know, one solo and then the other guy and then the other guy. We can start playing everybody together and just kind of, you know, hearing each other and picking our spots. You know, and then on cue, we just return to the melody, kind of play the melody out on that. And then I thought, well, I need an ending for this. You know, I could just end on it. But it didn't feel quite right. So I went back to the previous idea, which is, you know, we're back to that idea, right? And that's a perfect, like those kicks are really, like they really lend themselves to, I think, a drum solo. It just came really naturally. And it's a very effective kind of ending tool when, you know, the drummer can really hammer it like Harland does, and he just goes to town on that section, and it's amazing. Again, on the YouTube section, you can really tell he sort of really goes for it. And then on cue, on the drummer's cue, there's a little bit of like a melody that goes over that, which is, you know, that kind of thing over that. It's just a kind of a nice long line over the hits that are going on and up. That kind of thing, you know. And you know, I guess after 3 or 4 repeats, so even on another cue, because what ends up happening is that's when we play that melody, and it intensifies more, and so it ends up when everybody kind of is on the same page, we'll just end on a big, you know, that kind of thing, just big F sharp over A sharp. Sometimes you'd be surprised. I'm talking to the camera sometimes. It's tough just getting what is that going? But yeah, that's kind of sort of the thing, and it seems to be a tune that really I think works really well live, and it's always fun to play, and people seem to like it, and I'm really happy that it worked out. That like the first part has been such a long time ago, the second part, well, now it's been 5 years, but it's a tune that I always keep in the repertoire because it's just such a fun tune to play. It's still, you know. Yeah, it still holds up. It feels nice. The melody's nice. The solo sections are interesting. There's room for everybody to do a little bit. You know, nowadays actually the bass player will improvise over the A section after the melody instead of the vamp at the beginning. So that I thought that improves a little bit. So he cues. So the bass player would cue the last chord before we move on to the next section. And I think that's kind of a better fit. So we get a little bit from the bass player, we get the trades for the other instruments, and then at the end we just get the drum solo. And yeah, that's Faraway Shores. Also known as Shores because of Julian Shores, piano player friend of mine. He's a great piano player, like one of the best composers I know. He writes great music, always has writes great music, always has, you know, good musicians playing it, and I think I felt that the solo section chords, for some reason, reminded me of him. I think there was kind of the vibe of sorts, you know, maybe it was I don't know why. Sometimes those things are just abstract. And yeah, that's the story behind Faraway Shores and a little bit of how the song goes along. I think we went pretty much through the whole thing. So I hope you dig it. If you want to look it up, it's on YouTube, and the live versions on my channel. You can just find it, and then the studio versions are on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, all the things, and all the things you are. No, but yeah, you can find it easily on the streaming platforms. I hope you will enjoy it. Both versions. Look it up. And I'll see you soon for a new composition, maybe one of the new songs. All right, have a good week. See you soon.